Good evening. My name is Mary Jane Penny, and I have been a gang stalking victim since 2011. It's been over 10 years and it hasn't stopped. I have to say that I have had the opportunity to listen to testimonials from victims that have suffered attacks for long periods of time, but they do not compare to the kind of attacks that I have had in throughout these 11 years. And I have an advantage over those who posted their testimonials. I know who my gang stalker is. His name is Martin Ruiz de Gamboa. Martin Ruiz de Gamboa. He's a Chilean nationalized American who worked for the FBI in California, from where he relocated in the early part of the first decade of the 2000 of the 21st century. He threatened me on November 15, 2011. He said to me in English, "I'm going to destroy your life, and I'm going to destroy your life and your property." I called the police. They took care of what had happened, and the information, the threat, was entered into the police records. I know from some of the police men that worked in the precinct that is part of our city, small city in Hillsborough Beach, Florida, that he had tried to convince the chief from the police station to delete my request. As far as I knew, they didn't do it. But some of those policemen knew what kind of a person this man was. He has taken me or forced me to go to the hospital on 3 occasions, and this is the 4th one that I'm going through right now. The first one was a pretend to be heart attack, but when I got to the hospital in Boca Raton, and the doctors ran the biochemistry of my circulatory system, my heart, they realized that it didn't make any sense to have a heart working the way my heart was working and have the biochemistry that my body showed. Needless to say, that added to my suspicions about this guy, and eventually I got the full picture. That attack, of course, had me in the hospital for a few hours, which ran me a very high bill in very many thousands of dollars. Because I had not used my insurance during the year, as absurd as this may sound, I couldn't use the insurance because I should have used my insurance throughout the year, and I didn't. So I didn't have the privilege to get discounts towards the end of the year. Whatever. Now that I think about it, it was sometime in December when this happened. At any rate, that was the first attack. The second one was in Lima, Peru, where I had to come in 2012 because I had some family issues. When I come in 2012, I realized that instead of him being happy for me to leave the U.S., he didn't want me to arrive alive into the airport of Peru, of Lima, Peru. He didn't want me to. he had at least 10, 12 or more FBI agents with me on the plane. And if you want to ask, how do I know? Is because, these people are not very bright. The people that work for these agencies not necessarily have to be highly educated. They don't have to have a degree. And all these gang stalkers that work for the gang stalking chief, which happens to be this Martin Ruiz de Gamboa, who lives in South Florida, are people that they are not asked for any uh, inventive activities. They just have to follow directions. They are not allowed to get off the path they are supposed to follow. So these people are any people without education, and this is very clearly seen in Latin America because of the way the Latin American countries run. You have a very big population area of people without means, without education, without possibilities of improvement. And even when they have the possibilities of improvement, and since they didn't have the education, the background, the morality of anything, because mother was working very hard all day long, there was nobody to take care of the kids during the day. And mother had kids from a first engagement, a second engagement, a third engagement, and she's being husband and wife in a household with kids that belong to different fathers. So as far as the moral background for these kids is not very good. It's not very advisable to follow. So here it's very easy to engage all these people into being part of what I call the pyramid of the base. They are the recruits, the very bottom of this pyramid. They're recruits. They are masses of people. They are given the ability to get into a page from which they can actually go in, just like in the States. They go in and they pick out an option that they are given on the next day. They press, and immediately the victim feels something going on in his or her body. It could be heat going to the head, inside an ear, to a hand, to any other body part. And that's what they do. That's why they attack you on the street. That's why it's called gang stalking, because these are gangs. You might say, well, not everybody could have a big bottom of a pyramid. But what if they share that base? They have to share that base. Here in Latin America, where you only have a few big cities per country that are metropolis of some kind, they have to. Now, this Martin Ruiz de Gamboa is the big guy, even though he has a boss who used to live in my building too. Martin was in 301 and his boss was in 501. His name starts with the word Raymond. I'm not going to give his last name now, but if you keep pushing it, I'm not only going to give his last name, but I'm also going to give the name of institutions in which you have people that work for you. I don't know in what capacity, but I know that they work for you. So you're going to burn in hell because that is going to create trouble at very multiple levels. Okay? I'm tired of this and I'm tired of you. What did I ever do to you? I didn't do anything. But you hate Peruvians. You do. And you have a lot of Chileans living in Peru right now that are part of that bottom part of your pyramid that have the ability to get on that particular program and that have access to that page that you have on internet that I have heard that as you do in the States, you use the same practices wherever you go. That allows you to see the highlights on the life of a victim A, B, or C. he just does it. He just does it. When I come in 2012 and I finally arrived here, which was probably against his wishes considering the amount of agents that he had on the airplane, I had taken ice with me and icy water as well. And the person that was pushing my my wheelchair said to me, "You cannot take any cold water." And I was going to dump my ice too. And she said to me, "Don't dump your ice. Don't dump your ice. Take it with you." And she actually pushed me to take my ice with me. And that was what saved me. Because when I landed, the thickness of that piece of ice that I had was not more than the thickness of a dime or a penny. Okay? It was barely nothing. Nothing. And my face was red as it could be. And the flight attendant told me, you better go to the doctor. I mean, you don't look good right now. Your face is too red. And I said, yeah, don't worry about it. And I thought that was going to be the end of it. I finally arrived. This is it. Goodbye. When I landed, the harassment, what is very nicely called stalking, continued. I got home. We used to have every single real property we had has been sold, but we have a very large home. And I thought I was going to be safe. And eventually I realized that my mother was surrounded. We had gang stalkers all around the property and across the property on the other side of the street. And I couldn't understand why that had happened, considering that trip was arranged only with 2 days in advance. I didn't plan a trip with a month or 2 weeks or whatever advance or time in advance, because it was an unexpected trip, something that it was not planned, something that had to be done, and I had to come to Lima, Peru. Eventually, I found out that the reason why he didn't want me to arrive is to discover that my mother was being a victim as well. He gave her cancer to her vulva, feminine area. She was stage 1 when she was diagnosed, but even though she was 80 at that time, they operated on her, which was a terrible thing. A terrible thing. She died in a year later, and she had Alzheimer's. What did she ever do to him? She had no idea who this guy was. She had no idea what's going on with her body. She had no idea of what was going on in her surroundings. But he decided to attack her because he's a criminal. This Martin Ruiz de Gamboa, former agent from the FBI, now retired. He's a gangster. He's a criminal. He killed my mother. He killed her. He gave her that cancer. He gave her that cancer. He had all these stalkers around her, and she must have no idea what was going on with her. Why would he do that to her? What did she ever do to him? He didn't even know her. He never met her. Because that's the way this guy works. He's not only uh, excuse me. He's not, I don't know if we could call him, I think it would be an insult to call him an animal, but he has, he's, I don't know how to say it, but he's a handicapped man. He's handicapped not physically, but internally, emotionally, spiritually. He has no soul. He has no morals. He has no values. He doesn't have any good feelings for anything. He turned his kids into drugs. He has two kids, grown-ups now, but he turned them into drugs. Drugs. He wanted his son to be a drug lord, but he didn't have what it took, and he was incarcerated 3 times up to 2012. I don't know what happened after that, but after 3 times, you don't get out of jail. Is he out of jail? I have no idea. The daughter was such a beautiful girl, so sweet, but you could tell that there was no chemistry between the parents and this girl. She was very much alone. She also was turning to drugs. I don't know what the story was about her, but she was also in jail. She was also in jail. I think she was in jail at least twice. Then she became pregnant and she had a baby. The mother is Cecilia Ruiz de Gamboa, the wife of Martin Ruiz de Gamboa. She's a nurse. She was practicing in California and then she came to Florida and started working at a foundation with some kind of doctor. Is she still working? I have no idea. But Martin retired. Martin was a member of the board in our building in Hillsborough Beach or Hillsborough Mile. And just like many other board members, they were after the money of the association. They have no real interest in the building. We realized that he was stealing money along with some other people, and a few of us, mostly women, started a war against him. He hates women. And if you had a chance to read about gang stalkers' target was mainly women. And the features or characteristics of the women were as follows. High IQ, beyond average, professionals, very successful, and living alone. If you look at the statistics today, because the gang stalking has spread so widely in the Occidental or Western world, that number has come down because what you see in the States is not what you see in the rest of the Western world, especially if you talk about Latin American countries. He had a company called Amalfi, Amalfi. One of the ladies in our group discovered this company, and when she did the research, she found out that this was like some kind of security company that looked very much like one of those companies that you can actually hire to do criminal activities, like a mercenary. They kill, they poison, all kinds of dirty work. And when she exposed him on a memo to all the members of the building called Opal Towers West on 1150 Hillsborough Mile, Hillsborough Beach, Florida 33062, he went ahead and made that company disappear, not only from the active records, but from all public records in general. Disappeared. Not even as inactive. It just disappeared. It never existed. And that's the thing about this Martin Ruiz de Gamboa. He gets away with murder because he yields, the shield from the FBI, and he gets open doors. And even if they are not open voluntarily, he pushes and forces people to do what he wants to do. I'll give you an example. I would call a locksmith because I wanted to change my locks. But this Martin made friends with a maintenance guy who had a police record. And this maintenance guy will meet the the locksmith at the entrance of the building and threaten them. and they will have no choice but to give this guy a copy of my key. So even before I got the key, I got the new lock installed on my door, he already had a copy. I had not even paid for it, and he had a copy. He got into my apartment as many times as it pleased him. He installed cameras inside my apartment in different places. How do I know? Because I hired somebody that came with a little tool that allowed him to see if there were cameras, and he checked on all those little places where they could hide cameras, and he found places where there definitely was something, because the pattern of dust was interrupted, was changed, but very small areas. That guy, Martin Ruiz de Gamboa, he hates Peruvians. And he has many Chileans here, living here, that hate Peruvian, and they are part of his base of gang stalkers, this pyramid base, the recruits that don't even have a category of a soldier, just recruits. Martin is not here. He's not here. He's probably around here, but he's not here. He is probably the Lord of South Florida and the Latin American countries, but he doesn't come to Latin America. He has a brother who lives in Santiago de Chile, in Chile, and he comes and does all the dirty work here. They used to have a gathering place on Avenida 2 de Mayo here in Miraflores, where they got together one specific day of the week with all the ones that are not very much at the bottom of the base, but they are the ones that relocate so close to the target or the victim that they are the ones that work the victim during the day, 12-hour shift, and during the night, another 12-hour shift. So they usually lived in couples. His favorite tools is electricity and air. He can fill you up with air to the point that if you don't get in good control of yourself, you can get in despair and even get yourself a heart attack. Electricity that is not the electricity as we know it, but is a very sophisticated use of the electricity. Is a type of electricity that allows him to have the electric current go into a place in your body, on your body, where part of that electricity has already turned into a magnetic flow. So once that other electricity comes in touch with that magnetic flow, it attaches to it and warms up, and warms up whatever part of your face he have chosen as a target. Usually goes here and goes to the side and here. If not, he does the other way. And if you do this every time you get up in the morning, you'll find out if there has been a change with regards to what happened the day before. You might get up in the morning and feel warm and pain whenever you rub, but if you do this, you won't feel anything. Nobody will feel. You have to rub your head. And if you start feeling your head, you're going to find like bumps that are like little portals that allow him to get onto the area where he wants to get. And you might be able to find them also on your arms, on your legs, any part of your body. This last time, because this is the fourth time, he's using radio frequencies and he's using portals on my feet, my toes, and in the outer side of my foot, my left foot. I have pictures which I tried to show on a video that I just made in Spanish, but because of the light, even though this is an iPhone, I couldn't. I'm going to see if this time, let's see. I don't know. If you can see my foot, I guess because of the color. Okay, there it is. There it is. Let's see. I guess the light doesn't help me. He roasted my foot. How did he do it? I was sleeping, and all of a sudden, I wake up feeling that a flow of ants or spiders, little spiders, were getting into my body like opening a faucet. I sit up, and of course, it stops. When it stops, I look at my foot and realize that that particular point was a point that they have been hitting at and was very painful because I broke a bone around there some time ago, and they had developed a callus. But on the bottom of my skin, I had like a bag. It was very soft and, sagging. I decided to stop it, and I used isolating tape, which is called buta percha, where I am right now. Is a black tape that is used on all the electrical wires so that they don't get in touch with each other. And I put that on my foot, and then I covered. And no matter what I did, the flow kept coming in. So what I did next was to use that same tape on top of my stocking and wrap it very tightly to the point where the pain was unbearable. I put up with it for a little while, but I could feel, my foot was burning. If I wish I could show these pictures, it's like a half-roasted chicken with very dark spots, very bloody. Others are only red because I ruined with my action. Actually, it was not my action. It was their stupidity that ruined that portal into my body. They couldn't use it anymore. Was it my purpose? To be honest with you, I have no idea. I just wanted that to stop. But I ruined that portal. And then I realized I had the same little holes on the side of my nails surrounded by a small callus. And I don't have calluses on my hands. And I would, use a nail file to sand it down a little. And it would not make a difference. It would be very painful at night because at night is when they charge you up. They charge you up while you are sleeping. And when you wake up in the morning, you feel tired. Your tongue looks pasty, feels funny. You feel tired. You have no desire of doing anything. They have mapped out your body to a point where they know every little thing about you. And you might see them hitting at here or hitting here. And you think, well, what's the purpose of hitting that part of my ear? I don't worry about it. It's not that what they want to reach. It's not that. They find and they have different ways to get to the desired point. They have different ways to do it. Different ways. And sometimes if you do what I used to do, because I've been more than 10 years victimized by this little Martin Ruiz de Gamboa, this Chilean American that kills people for money, kills people out of dislike of people, out of vengeance, because he doesn't like you, he murders you, which is what is happening to me right now. He never liked me. because I'm nothing like him. He's a liar. He has no ability to communicate with people. He doesn't know how to handle problems. He needs crutches. And the crutches are these people here, the base, which is so big and wide, and people that work closely with him, that are protecting him 24/7. He doesn't even get on an elevator or out of his apartment without having checked that everything is clear for him to get out. He doesn't get out of his car unless he knows for a fact that there is nobody he is attacking or he dislikes is coming down or going up or whatever on the elevator. That's the way this guy is. And if he sees somebody he doesn't like, who doesn't like him either, he won't get out of the car until he makes sure that you are ready going into your apartment. Not only onto the elevator, but into your apartment. That's the way this guy is. He's a sicko. He's a sicko. If somebody is able to work his kids toward being involved with drugs, what can you expect from that individual? He has no good, healthy feelings towards his kids, much less towards anybody. Towards anybody. Nothing. Nothing. He's been using electricity, as I said. And he has also I call them the heat machines. Here in Latin America, these machines look like, what was the name of that, uh, little creature from the future? There was a movie Steven Spielberg made many, many years ago, E.T. Looks like the size of an E.T., I assume it's the size of an E.T., and is carried into an apartment on a table. In the States, they have round discs with very long cords that they allow them to be on top of you, and they could walk with you, inside a place without having to worry about an extension cord. And that goes through concrete, so they can heat you up without any problem. That's the way they do it. That's the way he's been doing that for many years. But the equipment that he sends to Latin America is the obsolete equipment, the equipment that is out of date for the Western world, that is on the upper scale, like the developed countries like Western Europe and the United States. They still use the cell phone. They have access to a program. That program gives them options, what to click, so that you can attack the victim. It doesn't come from their cell phone. It comes from your cell phone. Your cell phone from this bottom part of the pyramid, which is immense, is immense. You have no idea how many people they have involved in this. Do they offer money? I doubt it, because they will have to be billionaires to be able to pay people a considerable amount of money to use the program. They have a page on every individual that they victimize, and they do montages, or montage, as they say in French, where they can mix part of your conversations because they listen to your conversations. Initially, they could only listen to conversations from a landline to a landline or a cell phone landline. But nowadays, they can use conversations from a cell to a cell, as long as they are close to a place where they have installed a microphone, or to a place to which they already know they have access. If not, and they think you're talking to somebody that could put the target at risk as far as their concern goes, they send somebody else to spy on you and listen to your conversation. That hasn't changed. The techniques have been the same. The difference is that I have heard testimonials, I said, I think already, of people that have used foil, aluminum foil, but it doesn't work for this. I talked to an engineer that said to me, use magnets. It hasn't worked either. Then, well, in the Western world, in Europe and some areas in the US, people go and embrace trees without, barefoot in order to, cleanse themselves because of all this bad energy that surrounds us nowadays with these antennas, and 4G, the 5G, this whatever G comes around. And there are more buildings than homes, as they used to be the case. So there are more antennas wherever you happen to go. The electricity plays an important role. For instance, where I am right now, there is a big hole between me and the next street. So they need to transform the electricity. So they use a transformer. Because there is no way they're going to run the cable from there to here. No way. How many hundreds of yards would they need to use? I don't know. But it's going to be at least 200-300 meters or yards of wire. That's why they use transformers and alternate electricity. Okay? There is a very interesting video on YouTube about the difference between continued electricity, AC, and this other type of electricity that I already mentioned to you. It's very interesting. You just enter the difference between this energy and that energy, and it's going to come up. It's very easy to listen to, very easy to understand, and you'll see and you'll understand why they hit at you so many times during the day. They already have created a magnetic flow onto, there is already a magnet on your body surface that creates heat, which is measured in joules in memory of the person that discovered this. And they can, for instance, something that they have been doing to me in the last few days, they hit at my breasts, at my nipples, but don't think they hit at the surface. The first hit goes inside. It's very painful. So it opens a portal. It opens a portal for their energy, their electricity to go in, and you feel it. You feel funny on the inside of your breasts. And because they have so much control over electricity and all these sophisticated ways of using electricity, they can actually modulate the amount of energy. They raise it, they lower it. When they raise it, you feel like your breasts are going to burst. When they lower it, you feel the relief. But in order for them to sustain that kind of attack, they have to charge at you at least 2 or 3 times a day. So if you, like they're doing now to me, they're hitting at me right now, and I can sense it because I have them right across from me. Right across from me. I already know where they are located. If I give you the location, it won't make much of a difference to you because you're not there and probably you've never been to this part of Peru. But you have to protect your body parts because they can give you cancer. Why? Because all that heat, all that thermal energy that creates in that area is going to provoke burns. You're going to have blisters. But if those blisters I hit all once, twice, or over and over again, they are never going to heal. And eventually they're going to become lacerations that are going to turn into cancer. For instance, and I was not able to show on the Spanish version of this email, I was able to show pictures of my vulva And I'm going to show a picture to you now. This is the way my vulva looks right now. It's full of blisters. Blisters caused by the gang stalkers of Martin Ruiz de Gamboa, who of course is in the States. Nobody can blame him because he hasn't left the country. He doesn't know what you're talking about. He has his brother running around here, and he has all these other managerial groups. You know, they go under and under and under and under until you get to the base that are doing all the dirty work. So nobody is responsible. He likes to give women cancer to the vulva, especially if you're 65 or older, breast cancer. They can also hit any organ of your body that is not protected by a bone. But even your heart in the thoracic cavity, they can give you a heart attack just hitting up your head, because it gets to a point that the pain is unbearable because the heat is unbearable and your heart is pumping so much, so rapidly, your blood pressure goes up and your heart cannot handle it. Even though if your heart is in perfect condition, it cannot do it any longer. And you end up fibrillating, a VTAC or ventricular arrhythmia, heart attack, and you die. So they can reach any part of your body. I'm sure that the FBI, because this is FBI, has spent so much money in research that they have tools that might not even be available to the gang stalkers yet, I don't know if they have access to tools that are not of use by them anymore, or if they have the right way to use any kind of tool that they have. I have no idea. But I have read and I have heard that the FBI turns a blind eye to the activities of these bad FBI agents. Maybe because they do also their dirty work. Maybe that's the reason why. While I'm talking to you right now, they're hitting at me. They're hitting at me as we speak. I never spoke before. I never did. But I'm tired of this. And listen to this, Martin. I'm so fed up with you and your tactics and what you're trying to do to me right now. I know that you're trying to kill me because you decided if this is time for me to die. You're not my owner. You're nothing to me. You already killed my mother. Leave me alone. Do you understand? Leave me alone. If you don't, I'm going to disclose names of institutions, names of people on high levels that are involved with you. Do you understand? I'm warning you. Leave me alone. Okay? You killed my mother. And I know you're killing somebody right now across the street from here, because I see the radiation going on every night. And it's not only one type. It's not only one type. They have different types of radiation. I have some videos. I tried to search for them before this a testimonial was going to be recorded, and I can't find them anymore because he has access. He edits my videos. Here are the people that are monitoring me. They do anything with my cell phone, with my internet, with my photos, with my videos. They do anything, and they feel that they own you. They own you, and they can do with you anything they want. And I'm going to let you know, Martin, I'm fed up with you. I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to have your stalkers attack me anymore, because the consequences for you are going to be terrible. And you may be the one killed with the kind of weapon that you dislike so much, which is the gun. Okay? I'm sure that they're going to try to get rid of you because you're going to be a threat for that institution, which is called gang stalkers or gang stalking, which has spread so much in the last few years. It's not the same it used to be 10 years ago. It's worse than before. But it's bad. It's bad because it's so spread. You can actually go ahead and kill anybody you want. Somebody says a word to you on the airport, at the airport, you go ahead. You do whatever you need to do to get the information on this person. Take a picture and you run the biometrics on that person. And you get to know everything about that person and you decide which is the best way to get rid of that person and you kill him. And you have been able to get away with murder very many times, including Herb Slipher at Opal Towers West, when this man disappeared for 2 days and appeared on a Monday in a very tiny balcony when the man was, I don't know, 6'3", 6'4" feet tall, in a balcony that was less than a yard in width. How could he have a bruise on his neck, on the back of his neck, and be found in a balcony like that, sitting with the face and the head down, dead? He disappeared on a Saturday. He was found on a Monday. They couldn't find it in the building for 2 days. Give me a break. When the son came to do whatever he needed to do to get the body of his father back with him to Georgia, he couldn't control himself and he exploded in front of a few women, including me. And he told a story about this insurance company. I know the company that you used, the agent that you used to buy that insurance company. Actually, not you, your boss, who takes care of that kind of work. If you don't want me to say any more about you and your activities, you're going to leave me alone. And you're going to pay me, compensate me monetarily for all the expenses of medical treatments, pain and suffering that you have caused in me without any reasons for over 10 years. Over 10 years. Your threat was, I'm going to destroy your life and destroy your property. Why? Because you asked me for my opinion about you and I told you what I thought about you? Huh? Is that the reason why? Because you are the kind of person you are? You're just a criminal. You're just a criminal of the worst kind. Because you don't even have the guts to confront your victims. You hide behind people because you're a coward. You are a coward. You will be a coward forever. You will never change. If you did what you did with your kids, what could people expect from you? Even the followers, the people that are close to you, that are as bad people as you are going to you can backstab anybody at any time because you don't have feelings. You don't know what the meaning of that word is. I don't know how you had kids. I don't know how that woman, Cecilia, married you. I really don't understand. None of us did. None of us did. But I just want you to know, and I'm not going to go any further at this time, that you better stop because I'm going to start talking. I'm warning you. And I'm going to start talking tomorrow or maybe later tonight. I don't know. But leave me alone, Martin Ruiz de Gamboa in South Florida. Okay? Leave me alone. Or be subject to the consequences of your actions.